And from every family who never imagined that their loved one would be taken from our lives by a bullet from a gun. Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad. And by the way, it happens on the streets of Chicago every day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, just part of, as we've talked about earlier, of Barack Obama's announcement with the executive orders on guns, the tears flowing. Joining us now, I'm very happy to say, is Candy Carson, author of A Doctor in the House, My Life with Ben Carson, and New York Times bestselling author, and of course, wife of Dr. Ben Carson. Great to see you again. How are you?
It's great to see you,
and congratulations on the book.
Thank you so much.
You know, the executive orders announced by the president today. I know you were traveling. You didn't have time to sit down and hear exactly what he had to say.
Yeah.
But when you see the president of the United States, which is pretty rare, any president, shed a tear over gun violence, what goes through your mind as a mom?
I'm glad that he shows some emotion. It's always wonderful to see emotion when it's heartfelt. But to tell you the truth, I didn't hear what the executive order was,
right.
So it's hard for me to talk intelligently on that and address that. But it is important. I did hear the part about him saying that those Second Amendment rights are very important, and that's something we totally agree with.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, that's fair enough. Let's move on. I was with your husband today at the Committee to Unleash Prosperity. They held a lunch for him, and he was brilliant in his analysis of the events and the policies, tax policy, foreign policy, you name it, he was on fire. And you live with the guy. So talk about what this book talks about, which is your story, that people may not know a lot about the personal side of Dr. Ben Carson and his lovely wife.
Yes. Well, yeah, that was why the book was written, to give people a more in-depth perspective, not only of who he is, but what our life has been like up to this point. And tell you, the process was interesting because we finished the book prior to this, A More Perfect Union, under the wire, but that left me only 4 weeks to write this one, and so it was difficult when I did the math, and I figured it would take about 3,000 words a day. When I mentioned that to my husband, he said, "Oh yeah, sure, you can do that." I said, "You can do that? I've never written a book by myself before, you know." Right. She says, "Oh, that's doable, yeah." But, you know, prayed about it, and each day I did pretty well.
Would you say that faith is a major common bond between you and your husband? It's something that's gotten you through everything?
Yes,
How
definitely.
So? How so?
Every way possible. I mean, what can you say? I mean, there was a time, and this is one of the stories in the book, because considering he was 33 when he was named the chief of pediatric neurosurgery, which is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
He had gone to Yale University, coming from inner city Detroit, and, you know, single parent mom. He also had the poorest grades in the whole school, but he conquered that, you know, with his mom's help and her special program of reading, that he was able to go to the top of his class.
Amazing
so he was thinking he was pretty hot stuff. Well, this one young fellow was presented to him. It's a young boy from Georgia who was having trouble with his motor skills and with secretions and so on and so forth. It turns out he had a brain tumor. And his parents had taken him all over the country. They couldn't control his seizures and so on. Anyway, they brought him there, and the scan showed that he had this tumor at the base of his skull. And there's all of the medicine at that time says the only thing you can do is nothing.
Right.
It's inoperable. It's in a bad place.
And he operated.
And so his parents said, you know, the Lord's going to heal our son. He's going to use you to do it. So they pushed and pushed. You know, he did other tests and so on and so forth. Push came to shove. You know, when he went in and did the biopsy, it still came back high-grade carcinoma. But while they had him open, he debrided it, took out as much as he could. Now, over the next few days, the child should have gotten progressively worse. He didn't. His eyes started looking together in the same direction. So, and you know, other things. So he said, well, let's take him back in and see, you know, and what had happened was the whole consistency of the tumor had changed.
Wow.
It had gone from, and I asked him what it was like. He said the consistency of cheese grits.
A miracle.
No, but the consistency of cheese grits to the point where you could peel it off layer by layer.
A miracle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that child went on to become a minister.
Wow.
But he, after that, he said that was not only for that child, it was for me, because I thought I was doing this. I thought I was hot stuff. But I said, from now on, God, you be the neurosurgeon, I'll just be the hands. And that's where Gifted Hands came from.
That's an amazing, amazing story. Let me ask you, one of the things he brought up at the luncheon today, and he's talked about at length, is the media misrepresentation of what he has said, who he is, what he's done.
Yes.
When you hear them misrepresent and not correct themselves after the fact, like when the story about his mom verified one of the things they doubted him on, they don't retract that. He said that today. They don't retract. What do you, does that make you mad?
Well, it makes me very concerned, because our American people aren't hearing the truth. The media is the one business, that's the one and only business that's protected by our Constitution, because they're supposed to keep everybody honest. They're supposed to help everybody to understand the news as it happens.
I think the public is seeing through the media lies about your husband, the distortions, the misrepresentations.
Some of them might be, some of them might not be, but it would be nice if they would retract that, because all of these allegations have been proved to be false.
Yeah, about him lying about the buckle and the stabbing and the whole thing.
All of that.
Yeah,
it's sad.
Congratulations on the book. It's so great to
you.
see you, folks. You got to read this. If you love Dr. Ben Carson, here's a secret: you might love his wife more. But the book is great. A Doctor in the House by the one and only Candy Carson, of course. Pick it up. There it is on your screen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're
for
coming
having
back,
me.
folks, with Stephen Moore and Ford O'Connell. Don't go away.